at town meeting to present something. And I think I have a pretty good record of making a presentation, getting the point across, and winning, right? I'm not ready to do that. I'm ready to support the project, but I'm not ready to pitch for the money, because I don't have all the facts, and I can't make that kind of a presentation without going through that and knowing that the board is behind the approach, that the committee's behind the approach. We need more time to do that. And I was thinking just a minute ago, I said, well, maybe we could put this article on the warrant, because it has to go on tonight. We have to vote to put it on tonight. And we could say, okay, if we can get done the things the board needs to have done for April town meeting, and we're all comfortable, you make a report at the beginning of the meeting anyway, right? And then we go and we pass over the article if we're not prepared, or we ask for a vote on the article. But the more I think about it, I just think we need more time. And I think this kind of a project, it's even worth spending the time for a special town meeting and a special election if that seems to be the way to go. But I'm not at this point supporting putting those things on in the April town meeting or the May election.
How about setting a date for special? I think that's the right answer, because I think you get undivided attention. When can we set a special town meeting? Special election date?
Well,
Decide, huh?
Pending the results of
no,
May.
When? We don't have the other information yet.
I think what we need to
Want to
do,
wait till get the information first? and
I
then set
think
the-
we need to
okay.
do is again, here to be ready to make the presentation, start making the pitch. I think this forum is obviously one of the first. I mean, town meeting will probably be the first forum, but this will be the real forum for the minutia in relation to the financing of it all, and then we have to come to a consensus as to what portion we're thinking of in relation to town-wide paying as opposed to betterments, and then we move forward from there. But I think they're ready to go. They're ready to keep our feet to the fire. That will drive the timeline in my eyes, but I'm not ready to set a date yet. I'm no further ahead than I was with 2 minutes to 7, 2 minutes to 6 when I walked in here. That personally. So I'm not quite ready.
Mark.
I just assume set deadlines, then we know to get something to respond to.
Bill.
I've sat with this group for the 6 years, and probably for the last 3 years. We've done town meeting reports a couple times, and the big questions we always get feedback are, when is it coming, and how much is it going to cost? And as Cliff pointed out, we threw a number in front of you in December of $40 million, and that was there's some contingency built into that, so that we're hoping that is the number. It's not a number that we can accept and then put on a shelf for a number of years, obviously, and still expect it to be a valid number. Hopefully the cost will come down. And the timing issue, that's one we've been wrestling with. We've been here, an hour and 5 minutes tonight just talking about whether it should go on April or not. This committee did recommend a special town meeting because they thought it was that complicated an issue, that it could dominate a regular town meeting, last 3 or 4 hours, and I think we've seen that tonight, that that is a definite possibility. I mean, we're not wrestling with the financing or the construction issues or the potential revenues to the town. We're just issuing or wrestling with whether it should be on April or October tonight. So I guess just from the DPW standpoint, our feeling is it is a fairly complex issue. It's probably one of the most important issues the town's going to see over the next number of years, and we would definitely support moving it to a special town meeting to be considered by itself.
Thank you, Mark. I don't know whether we have a consensus here, but I think certainly we don't have the votes to put it on the May ballot. And two is that I think it'll be up to your committee to inform the board. Let's get the financial aspects together so that we can determine what we're going to recommend as a sharing for the town versus the benefactors of the sewer district. And at that point, when we're all comfortable that we've got the numbers, then I'm in support of scheduling a special town meeting and a election. Now, if it's close to, if we go through the summer and it's close to October, obviously, you know, I would opt to have that article in the October town meeting, but if, in fact, we're ready in June, then that might be a good time. If it gets into July, it's not a good time, because everybody's thinking about summer vacations. So July and August are kinda out, but,
You can pop back in September.
yeah, can pop back in September. Everyone pretty much comfortable with that?
So, can I just restate, so what we're saying here is that we're gonna wait for you to get back to us on, to clarify some numbers, right, and also some suggestion. Tomorrow? Whenever you can, I guess.
Yeah.
Whenever you can.
Ask to be on our
Some
agenda at
ideas
the next
about when you
meeting if you want, I mean.
Yeah, next meeting, come back. And then set some recommended dates that you want, that you think is enough time for you to do a special election and a special town meeting, a special election.
We have a meeting on the 19th, which is Wednesday.
Our next meeting is on the 24th.
So we'll go over that and try to provide you with all of that.
Let's get through
Our presentation.
We gotta get
Let's
through
get through town meeting.
What?
Let's get through town meeting.
Presentation at town meeting?
No,
I think you should make a presentation at town meeting.
oh, yeah, we would, but I mean, as far as wanting to use
Uh,
all the information.
Okay, here's what I think, Greg has made a comment and a suggestion. You've gotta have your meeting and get things together. And I think you need to focus on a presentation for April town meeting. And we get together after April town meeting and lay out what needs to be, make the decisions that need to be made. And then, based on that, schedule a date for a special town meeting and election. Okay? Everyone comfortable with that?
Yep.
Yes.
So we've got consensus of the board.
We appreciate your push, really.
Yeah.
It's important, and it's, and I'm hoping it's gonna be very successful in the short term. And the other good news is, and all this bad economic news, is that the cost of financing is gonna be very, very cheap. It's gonna be very low. Cost of borrowing is gonna be low for a while.
Okay.
Thank you.
We need to move on. I don't plan on
Thank you, guys.
spending till midnight here tonight.
No.
We have some legal bills for 2008. Mr. Falcone, is there anything special on the legal bills that need comment?
Yes, give me 1 second to catch up.
Okay.
The legal bills, as you can see, are broken down between the general services and labor. Of the general services, $8,107. It relates to ongoing litigation defense. The majority of that is for Eisenhower Park. Also, with regard to the labor, we have one open negotiation and 4 labor cases, which comprise the balance of the $2,500 that's for labor. So we will direct the costs related to the legal defense to the Eisenhower account, and that will in turn free up money in our town council budget for other purposes.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve legal bills for January 2008 in the amount of $15,125.38 as follows. Copeland and Page, PC General, $12,440.88. Copeland and Page, PC Labor, $2,574. And Thompson and West, $110, totaling $15,125.38.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Harris, seconded by Mr. O'Leary. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? The approval of seasonal licenses. Yeah. 4, I guess, right? Michael?
Mr. Chairman, I move to renew the seasonal transient vendor license for the sale of flowers, Christmas trees, etc. at 226 Main Street for Robert Connors, 58 Wyman Street, Woburn, Mass., to expire December 31st, 2008, subject to all regulatory department requirements.
Motion made by Mr. Harris, seconded by Mr. O'Leary. Discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Vino?
I don't know about the rest of the board, but I received no information on these licenses, how we usually get the little packet. We generally get something on every license that we renew. And-
This has been annual for,
Well, I know,
Well,
Steve, but
that's
I
right,
just, you know,
right.
we generally get it. I'm just wondering if everything,
The application was received in the office. It's been circulated amongst the municipal departments. Reporting back, the police department doesn't have an issue with it. The planning department is okay. The fire department just comments that they're not to block the access to the Horseshoe Restaurant. And Board of Health has no issues, Building Department has no issues, Conservation has none. And all of the necessary forms, including their workers' compensation certificate, has been attached. Certification that they've paid all of their state taxes, which is the final legal obligation, as I understand. So
okay.
all that information is here, and actually on the remaining seasonal licenses, we have all the same information, so if you have any questions about those, we'll be addressing
But I
those.
mean, there's no, everything is clear on all of
It
them,
is,
I guess I'm
it
gonna
is,
ask Greg.
it is, and I apologize for the fact
No,
that it wasn't.
Actually, you saved some paper.
Well, I like to read them, so
Yeah, okay.
if I'm the only board member that wants them, I
no,
want them.
generally, you're right, Joe,
I mean,
generally
he's
we do get 'em.
presenting the
Right,
information,
right.
so. After all the paper I shredded.
Yeah, that was the only
last
question I
weekend.
had.
Thank you, Joe.
But I am recycling it.
I think it's been
Shredded and recycled.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Next, Thompson Club Pro Shop.
Mr. Chairman, I move to renew the seasonal wine and malt beverage club license for the Thompson Club Incorporated, DBA Pro Shop, 2 Mid-Iron Drive, to expire December 31st, 2008, subject to all regulatory department requirements.
Motion made by Mr. Harris, seconded by Mr. O'Leary. Discussion?
I just curious, why are we renewing this now? I mean, is it just a
Oh, the
season?
Pro Shop is seasonal, they're gonna open shortly.
Okay,
Yep.
okay, all right. Good, no, okay.
I'd just like to report to the board that
All in favor?
Aye.
I can report,
everything is in order.
that's what I like to do. I'm all in, I'm aye.
I believe you the first time you
You're
said
all
everything
in.
was in order.
The amount of-
Yeah, we'll copy these if you
Yes,
want.
it was unanimous.
Is that
Something, if there's something that's out of order.
Right now, we're waiting on the secretary. As soon as Michael gets through, we'll read the next one.
Mr. Chairman, I move to renew the common victual license for GFMI Hillview Snacks, 149 North Street, to expire December 31st, 2008, subject to all regulatory department requirements.
Second?
Did I miss one? It's over here. Motion made by Mr. Harris, second by Mr. O'Leary. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous?
It's a separate
Yep.
Which one is
Is it number 6, number 7?
seasonal?
Oh, all right, never mind. Sorry.
Next one?
Mr. Chairman, I move to sign the ABCC 2007 seasonal renewal certification.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Harris, seconded by Mr. O'Leary. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous?
Sign them up.
One is the renewal and the other is the estimate.